And now it's about time to get some thoughts on e-tourism in CLMVT. And our guest speaker for this luncheon talk session is all the way from Singapore, Mr. Oliver Hua, who's the Managing Director for Asia Pacific from Booking.com. Please welcome Mr. Hua on the stage.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, first of all, I want to thank the organizers for inviting me to come to speak in front of such a distinguished group of government officials and industry leaders. What I want to do today is maybe introduce a little bit about my company, Booking.com, and talk about what we see are some of the key trends, and development in the travel industry from an online perspective. This is where I think in Southeast Asia, especially in the CLMVT countries, e-commerce has a long way to develop, and I want to maybe share with you some of our insights and our perspectives about the market. So just a few words about myself. My name is Oliver Hua. I'm based in Singapore, and I run the Asia Pacific business for Booking.com. And for us, that means markets from Southeast Asia to China, Japan, Korea, but also Australia, New Zealand, as well as South Asia, India, Sri Lanka, Maldives. Booking.com, in way of introduction, is part of Priceline Group, which is a US-based online travel company. And we own a number of brands based in the United States and in Europe, as well as here in Asia Pacific. In addition to Booking.com, we have brands like Priceline.com, Kayak, Agoda, which is a company that's actually originated from this very city in Bangkok, but also rental cars and OpenTable, which is an online restaurant booking business. Just some numbers to share with you about the business. Last year, we did roughly $55 billion in total transactions and almost 400 million room nights of accommodation stays for our customers globally. And we were very active in over 220 countries, and we work with almost 1 million partners in accommodation industry. So we're a very large-scale global online travel player. The company also happened to be the most valuable travel company, online or offline, by market capitalization. So here's a chart showing you the largest online businesses globally. We are ranked number 7, but this is data from end of year last year. But as of today, we're number 6 on the list. We're only smaller in market capitalization than Google, Amazon, Alibaba, Tencent, and Facebook. So we're actually a fairly large-scaled player. Our stock price has risen 50 times in the past 10 years and now trades at a little over $1,300. We have a total market cap roughly $65 billion as of today. So some words about Booking.com. This is the biggest part of Priceline Group business, contributing to roughly 90% of our total business. And the business is based in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. It's founded almost 20 years ago. We're going to have our 20-year anniversary in about 2 months' time. So in 20 years, basically, we have built a global business. As you can see, we now have over 900,000 properties globally on our platform, and we have facilitated 1 billion transactions, 1 billion bookings by our customers last year cumulatively, and now we're doing almost 1 million room nights a day. That's the number of bookings happening on our various online platforms, from our website to mobile apps. And we're active in many countries, including here in CLMVT countries. We have 7 offices in this region alone, and with over 100 employees. Our mission is, as a company is really to help both leisure and business travelers to discover and book the best accommodations according to their needs. And we do that on a global scale. And the way we accomplish our mission is by connecting demand and supply online. So basically, what we operate is a marketplace, that physically resides only on the internet. We don't have any offline travel agency offices. We don't have call centers to take bookings. Everything that happens on Booking.com happens on the internet, either through our website or through our mobile apps. And what we do, like I said, is connect demand and supply. And we find the demand through many, many different channels. People who come to our website directly or search for accommodations on search engines like Google or TripAdvisor, but also when they book airline tickets, when they are on bank's credit card transactions, we present an opportunity for them to book accommodations with us. And the hotel partners we work with are both large global chains. Some of the names are mentioned here, and I'm sure you're familiar with. But more importantly, with a lot of smaller properties that do not have global reach without internet. So what we do is really to connect that supply. Many of that we work with here in Southeast Asia with global demand, and we do that through dedicated customer services to help our travelers to have the best experience they can have, but also a optimized website as well as mobile app to make their transaction as easy as and convenient as possible. Yeah, like I mentioned, our value proposition to customers is really to offer them the broadest selection of accommodations you can find online. And this includes both large hotels to small bed and breakfast, hostels, even apartments, for those supplies that, without internet cannot really reach customers in many parts of the world. And the customer services we provide are done in 42 languages, including Thai and Vietnamese here in this region. And we provide 24/7 customer services in our native language. And in call centers, almost 20 call centers globally. And in Asia Pacific, our call centers are based in Singapore, Shanghai, and Tokyo to support travelers in this region. So for example, a Thai traveler who has booked accommodation to Europe through our website, and if they have experienced any issue, they would be able to contact us. Yeah, like I said, what we think about travel, especially digital travel going forward, is really the ability to connect customers, with accommodations on a global scale, 24/7. So in this new era, basically, hotels and accommodations, they can reach a large global audience, not necessarily by having their own reservations in the native language of the customer, or having to have travel agencies in different cities and different destinations of the world, but rather online. And that's what we think why travel going forward is going to continue to explode, because it is increasingly easy for customers to access information about accommodations, about travel destinations through online channel. So today, for example, in Thailand, we connect customers, from over 170 countries to this market. And last year alone, we brought 5 million bookings to Thailand. If you think about the scale of what we're doing in this market, which has a total inbound tourist, roughly 30 million customers, 30 million inbound travelers last year, we made 5 million bookings. So, and increasingly we're seeing this trend of consumers actually making their selection and making their booking from offline to online. So we believe the trend will continue, and the online space will be an increasingly more important component of customers' experience when they experience the world. Just a few words about our business here in Southeast Asia in CLMVT countries. So we have 7 offices, in the region already. We're opening our 8th office in Chiang Mai later this year. And we're opening also a customer support center offering Thai language, but also Vietnamese and other Southeast Asian language like Bahasa, here from Bangkok. And what we have being able to say is increasingly more and more hotels and accommodations, people in the travel industry, they realize the importance of being online, right? So now in Thailand alone, we're working with 12,000 accommodations, which includes from hotels to hostels to even city apartments. And connecting them with customers from all over the world on our platform. And in CLMVT countries, we have 25,000 partners in total. And like I said, we facilitated 5 million bookings into Thailand last year alone. And we're growing the business at a very fast pace, like 50-60% growth rate. And the growth is even faster in some of the emerging markets in a region like Myanmar. Like last year, we have seen our inbound booking into Myanmar almost double. So we see the trend kind of continue to happen. And as internet penetrate more and more in this region for local consumers, we're actually seeing more and more CLMVT customers, travelers, they're booking accommodations, whether in their home country, in this region, or globally online. So some data to share, for example, the kind of inbound travelers we have brought to Thailand. Interestingly, the largest group of customers booking with our platform for properties in Thailand are local Thai. So we're seeing more and more domestic travelers using online platforms to book their accommodations. But in addition to local customers, we have brought in a lot of inbound customers from markets like China, from UK, Germany, and France. Similar pattern in Vietnam, in Laos, in Cambodia, and basically what we have seen is, increasingly more and more travelers are connecting with this part of the world, and we have a lot of repeat customers coming back to CLMVT markets as well. And this is a slide showing, on our platform where we see local customers. That's travelers from this region, where they're going to. That's interesting to see there's a lot of cross-border travel within the region, like Thailand to Laos, Vietnamese traveling to Singapore, and the trend is continuing and increasing. One other thing to note is what we can see from our platform is when you remove travel restrictions. For example, last year when Japan relaxed its visa restriction for Southeast Asian travelers, we have seen an explosion of Thai to Japan, outbound tourism, and we're facilitating a big part of that. And I think our customers are also experiencing the power of a global platform like Booking.com for them to choose the different selections when they travel. So a few words about digital tourism in this region. If you look at the total, size of the market for travel, globally, it's over $1 trillion, and in Asia Pacific, the number is almost $350 billion. It's a huge industry, and it's growing actually very rapidly at 15% plus rate. And we think as internet and technology make information more easily accessible to travelers, as more and more suppliers will put their product online, so that trend will likely to accelerate. And if you look at how technology is really empowering, consumers, travelers to access more selection, you don't have to go far to look at things like mobile penetration in Southeast Asia. So this is a slide showing the number of mobile phone users, internet penetration in CLMVT countries, and pretty interesting. In a number of countries, including Thailand and Vietnam, the number of mobile phones in use actually is a lot bigger than the total population. So mobile penetration is more than 100%. In many countries, stand at 150, 160%, right? Because people have multiple mobile devices. And we think what's going to happen next is as more and more people have smartphones, they will start to use their mobile devices to really engage in e-commerce activities. And that is a huge growth area for the CLMVT countries. Yeah. What we're saying is also as technology evolves, consumer behaviors are changing. More and more consumers are booking, on mobile devices, and many times they're actually skipping generations of technology. We're saying many, customers come to book, travel, and purchase items, conduct e-commerce activities for the very first time on a mobile devices, rather than going through PC or laptop first before they move to mobile. So a full 1/3 of total transactions on our mobile site and on our platform is actually enabled through mobile devices. And that trend differs by country, but where you see mobile penetration and internet penetration is high, like in Thailand, in this region, when those two trends converge, you see an explosion of mobile commerce. And that is increasingly, I think, increasingly highlights the importance of a mobile lifestyle for consumers. And as businesses and government institutions, how do you manage, grow, and guide this is very important. We have done some survey just to understand how mobile technology has affected people's lifestyle. And you can see when we interview, our, customers, a lot of them are millennials, young people, and they're embracing a mobile lifestyle. And they're increasingly using mobile devices to make selection, to conduct their discovery. And what's also happening is consumer behaviors are changing to such extent it start to impact industry. Like, I think accommodation, hotel industry are saying more and more last-minute booking, as booking window has significantly shortened. When in the past, people book their flights or their hotel months ahead, at least weeks ahead, but increasingly we're seeing people booking their accommodation only 2 or 3 days before they actually make the trip. So that has an implication on hotels, revenue management, yield management, and when they think about distribution, they need to factor in the changing consumer behaviors. And as a result, how do you make sure you have the right point of sales, you have the right price points when customers come to your property or come to your accommodation in such a fashion. In summary, the consumer trend we're saying is increasingly we're living a real-time world. So travel booking can happen 24/7 online. There's no more restrictions of geography. There's no more restrictions of language because they're being facilitated. They can, like Thai customers, for example, can come to Booking.com and see all our mailing properties in their native language, in Thai language, right? And increasingly, they also find transaction is very easy because all you have to do is, put down your credit card information and you can make the booking and get the confirmation instantaneously rather than wait for a confirmation from the hotel or from your offline travel agent. And there's also a shift in consumer psychology. So increasingly, we live in a world of transparency. So whether it's hotels or flights or other travel services, your price point is for all to see. All consumers have to do is go online and do a search, and they'll be able to do comparison shopping. And unless you have the most compelling product at the competitive price point, consumers will make selections with other providers. So this is a world of transparency and enabled by technology, but the industry need to react to that. And then I think another point to bring out is increasingly what we're saying is consumers are more and more social. So rather than relying on official endorsement, for example, of destinations or accommodations, they actually listen to their fellow travelers, right? So they look at online reviews and they check out their destinations on social networks. So they collect information in a very different way than in the past. So this has an implication when tourism promotion authorities, for example, when you think about how do I promote my destination or how do I promote the properties in my region, the channels are different and the content that the consumers will react to are completely different as well. On Booking.com, there's almost 100 million reviews left for the million or so properties on our website. So anyone can basically check out the feedback for a property like, for example, here at Dusit Thani, like what are other travelers saying about this property who have actually stayed here, right? So they are really totally skipping the official curated content that you typically get from a official website or from a government trade promotion literature, right? So consumers are becoming more social. And they're actually also, using things like reviews, peer feedbacks as a way to make their choices when they make their travel decisions. And lastly, I think this is very important for, the people in the tourism industry. I think yesterday, Capcorn mentioned, for example, in Thailand, the tourism authority is really thinking about how do I, engage travelers in a way that's deeper than before, right? So rather than the 2-day beach stay or 3-day, Bangkok nice stay, how do you actually enrich their experience and think about maybe, there's many other dimensions to travel you can add to. Like food tourism, right? So cooking classes, but more than just a cooking class, maybe actually for the traveler to go to the wet market, right? Go to the farmer's market to experience actually the purchase process, right? And select the raw material. And, with initiatives like that, consumers actually, is going through and is buying an experience, not just a transaction. I'm not just booking a flight or booking 3-night stay in Bangkok, but rather I'm going after experience. So this has a huge implication on the industry. How do you actually make sure you enrich the experiences of consumers who come to your property, who come to your destination? And I think then on top of that, how do you market your new experiences to your consumers? Right? With that, I want to conclude this little presentation. I believe this industry, travel industry in particular, in this part of the world has a huge future, and increasingly it's going to be a digital future, and hopefully, the authorities, officials involved in the industry will understand the mega trends that's happening with consumer behavior and able to help to shape your industrial policies, your guidance to tourism industry players in a way that will ensure consumers and travelers will continue to come to this beautiful part of the world. So with that, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your lunch.